morning, everyone. My name is Pascal Hamelin, President and CEO of Abcourt Mines. Abcourt Mines is a Quebec-based gold exploration company, publicly listed on the TSX. The ticker is ABI. Abcourt has been around for quite some time. Abcourt is not well known outside of, I would say, the Abitibi region for one reason. Abcourt forever was run like a private company, publicly listed, but private. Now, the board decided to take a different direction in 2021. I joined the company in 2022. And today what I'm going to do is explain you what's the potential with the company. Good.
I could see it. Last time I saw you at Bonterra. Now you're here. How long have you been with this company?
I joined Abcourt Mines in April 2022.
Right. And so what's the brief? You say the board would want to take a different direction. It's going to run like a private company, and I guess they want you on board to kind of do something different. But what's the brief? What are you seeing here? How do you think this thing can kind of reboot itself?
Yeah. Well, Abcourt made many good things in the past. The one thing Abcourt did very well is to acquire land package. We own over 500 square kilometers of exploration property in the camp. We acquired the Sleeping Giant mine and mill in 2016. That mill allowed us to process the material from the Elder mine, which was a small mine outside of Rouyn-Noranda, and the material was being trucked over to the Sleeping Giant mill. That was the business model before. Now, Elder mine and the cash generated from Elder was going to generate exploration money for the other assets. Slow pace, but safe pace, but very slow. Now, if you have a hiccup, then the business plan doesn't work very well. So Elder is phasing out. Sleeping Giant is not quite ready. So that's when I came in. We needed to accelerate things, so we placed Elder Mine on care and maintenance in May. We announced it in May. We placed it in care and maintenance this summer, and then we've moved the focus to Sleeping Giant Mine. Sleeping Giant Mine is a former mine with over 10 grams material processed close to 1 million ounces, but with the traditional method. Polygonal and like paper copy, the mine's been in operation since the 80s, and it's very complex, and thank God it is complex, because it would have been all mined out by now. So it's a complex ore body, but high grade, and it needed some fresh technology applied to it.
Right. So let me just, I want to kind of try and keep this simple for my own benefit here. So Sleeping Giant Mine, that comprises a fully permitted mine and a mill, you said? I mean, what's the capacity of this mill? Is it operational now?
Yeah. The mill is 100% permitted, and it's right above the Sleeping Giant Mine. No trucking. It's beside the headframe from the Sleeping Giant Mine, and that mill was processing until August 1st. It was processing the material from the Elder mine. So the Sleeping Giant mill is operational, is functional. Right now, what we're doing is we're doing the cleanup. We're cleaning the mill. There was material pulp or mud on the floor underneath ball mills. So we're doing a mill cleanup so we can after come back in with paintbrush and paint the mill. Really?
Right. Are you finding gold there? I mean, sometimes with these mills, they kind of what's called dirty, and you find a lot of gold, which you can sell. Is that happening?
Oh yes. This morning, we just announced since we've been recovering gold since July. We hired a specialized firm this summer. They began in September, and since October 1st, we recovered over 1,600 ounces, just passing the vacuum.
That helps. So we didn't say, what was the capacity of the mill?
The mill's capable of processing, is permitted for 900, but to be efficient and have a good recovery over 95%, you don't want to push more than 750.
Right. Okay.
750 tons, 750 tons a day.
Right. So how are you going to feed this thing? Obviously, you talk about Elder Mine is kind of winding. Is it winding down, or have you stopped production there? What's happening?
I stopped the production. It was
right.
The cash cost was over. It was over $2,600 an ounce.
Right. So pointless. So Sleeping Giant. In terms of the mine component of this, where are you with developing that, and are you going to be able to kind of keep this mill full?
There was a first resource that was done in 2018, and the reserve done in 2019. But with polygonal methods, an old method, it's safe, very conservative, but it's a reliable method. We had 175,000 ounces of indicated and almost no inferred. So to me, it was a point. I said, oh, there's something here we need to investigate. So we used kriging, we used modern tools. We made a block model since this summer. We just announced the resource update yesterday. Now we got over 250,000 ounces of inferred resource and a lot of exploration potential. So in the coming weeks, you're going to see that coming up.
Okay, well, this is interesting. Again, I'm just going to frame it as with my investor hat on, saying, right, there's a mill. You're capable of, filling that mill or getting ore to that mill. There's revenue being able to be generated from that. You're also sitting on a whole bunch of land, and you're sitting on a whole bunch of assets around there. So can you kind of prioritize? Because I'm looking at looking earlier at one of your PowerPoints, and you've got a lot of assets. These take time and money, so you've got to prioritize. So what should we be looking at for us? What are the kind of top three things we should be looking at?
So priority one is Sleeping Giant.
Okay.
Because we have resource, we do have reserve. Now we're going to do a reserve update from the yesterday's resource. So Sleeping Giant mine is priority one because it's right beside the mill, lower cost. The priority number two is we have two assets, Florida and Discovery, that are about 80 kilometers east of the Sleeping Giant mill. Those have historical resource. There was some resource. There was 43-101 done in the late, I think, 2008, 2010. So about 12 years ago. It needs to be refreshed with the new CIM guidelines. So we're going to do that. That's going to be done in 2023. It requires very little labor and costs. You're looking at maybe 250,000 Canadian just to update the resource at Florida Discovery. Build a good 3D model so the geologist knows what they're working with, and then you use the full potential of the drilling that was done in the past. So same thing as Sleeping Giant. Build a 3D model, Florida Discovery. So that's priority number two. That's an exploration play. Now priority number three, we made a proposal to acquire another company in the camp, Pershimix. They have very good assets. One asset is very interesting, and I would say it's cheap right now because it's an early stage project, but high grade, like over 7 grams, right on surface. The Pershimix took a 5,000 ton bulk sample this fall. That was arranged with Abcourt to be processed at the Sleeping Giant mill before I came. So this was an arrangement between Pershimix and Abcourt already to process that material. So now I saw the potential with Pershimix. I said, well, we've got to acquire them. It's a $3 million market cap company. In a few years, it's not going to be, we won't be able to afford it. So let's buy them now and let's do the exploration ourselves.
Okay, so there's also, so I want to just deal with a couple of outliers, and then I want to kind of get into this, the strategy. Okay, so there's a lot of moving parts here, but there's also you talk about copper, you talk about zinc, a bit of silver as well. You position yourself at the beginning as a gold company. So what do you do with those other commodities? Are they byproducts, or how are you treating them?
The zinc assets, like we got 2 zinc assets and 1 copper asset. The copper asset is west of Rwanda. It doesn't cost. We acquired for almost nothing. So for us, we're going to wait for the right opportunity to sell it. Like we're not going to develop a copper mine if we're a gold company. Same thing for the 2 zinc asset south of the Sleeping Giant mill. That cannot be processed in our mill. So our goal will be to either GV or sell it, or spin it out into a different company, provide value to our shareholders, but like it's not going to be processed at Sleeping Giant. So we're going to do something with them.
Right. Okay. So there's you're not going to waste time or money on them, but you're looking to monetize them at the right point in time. Okay. So not a distraction. Let's get on to the bit which kind of matters to me, which is it's all, I get the fact that it was run like a kind of private company and it was all just a little bit small, and take that the right way. I know it's like $21 million company today. It was all a little bit small in terms of ambition. It's a little bit small in terms of money spent, and this seems to be the value is going to come through exploration for you, right? You're in the right region, you're in the right postcode, as we say, or zip code. But it's a question of how do you go about raising the capital to deliver that exploration, which may deliver that value, given you come from a low base with a long history of not really the company, not doing too much. You're going to have to tell the market a good story. So, what is the strategy? Why should they be excited about what you've got here?
Well, the strategy, there's 2 things. Sleeping Giant mine, it can go in production anytime. So raising some money for that with short-term return for the investors, that's what they're looking for. They don't want to see the projects with a 2 or 3 year payback. They want to see immediate return. So Sleeping Giant provides that. Now it needs a little bit of help. So how do you help it? Well, with the drill bit, you got to continue the exploration. To me, the resource that we issued yesterday is just a milestone. We're going to continue and increasing that. So the investors and the shareholders see value through the Sleeping Giant mine, and then you build around it. You start from one asset and then you build on. And that's how I see we can grow this company.
Okay, but if again, I come back to that history component. What do you think people are going to give you a chance to be able to do that? Right, because it's been a sort of easy to ignore story for a while. Not too many people sort of knew about it. We really had to do a bit of digging, and we speak to a few people to try and understand what it was before. So you feel confident in your ability and your access to the markets to get or get a chance of getting that capital.
Because we're going to do it in a prudent way. It's not going to be a bet. Like it's going to be a safe bet, because we're going to show the investors, listen, like we got all the capex all lined up. This is what the return will be, like payback less than a year. So when you show that to investors, yeah, it's going to be appealing. You're competing for the capital dollars with other assets, other company. Not too many companies has an operational mill with reserve underneath. So that's at our $15-20 million market cap. I don't know too many companies like that. So you just show that you can deliver. You deliver a small milestone. So we told the market we're going to do a resource update. We did it. Now we're going to do a reserve. We're going to do it. And then baby steps. But people see, oh, okay, they clean the balance sheet. They see that from September 30th financials, June 30th financial. They see we're active in the camp. We're recruiting. We're building the technical team. People see that, So that's how you're going to convince the investors that this is a good horse.
Okay, and again, to kind of keep it simple, is given the history, people have got a long memory. I'm looking through your website, I'm looking through your marketing material, I'm looking through the kind of the messaging. It's really hard to kind of work your way through. You're gonna need to, up your game a bit there. Is that coming down the line?
Yes. Like
okay.
The website is right now. The website is being. I gave a mandate to a firm to refresh that website entirely. The corporate presentation, many things it needs on many fronts. The fronts that needed, the first fronts that you need, Abcourt needed to fix and make safe is the cash flow. So you can have a good website, but if you have no cash, it's not good. Or if you're not paying the webmaster, it's not good either. So
okay, well let's talk about some of the cash.
Fix the cash flow, fix the build a strategy, deliver the resource, and then website, marketing. Like people has to know the good story, and outside of the Val-d'Or, Rouyn-Noranda region, like the Abitibi camp knows the area. They know what we're doing. Now we're gonna go to Toronto, Montreal, New York, and then spread the word out. So that's why I'm meeting you this morning, Matt.
Well, good. We'll help where we can. But seriously, let's get back to the money side of things. Obviously, you talked about sort of cleaning up the mill. There's ounces lying around, which is good news, and that's it's not a whole bunch of money, but it all helps. Are there any kind of stockpiles around in terms of kind of being able to kind of quickly feed the mill? Are there kind of any stockpiles lying around also they can take advantage of?
There's right now we got some material at Pershing Manitou, the deposit belonging to Pershimex. So it's a high grade, 5,000 tons, all broken, sitting there. Just needs to be trucked to the mill. We have material underground at Sleeping Giant Mine. We have material ready to go to the ore pass. So it's to put the right people at the right time. So first we need to sell actually the resource right now. We have an EGM next week with our shareholders. We're proposing a name change. We're proposing a few things, a different board slate. So it takes steps, but you got to start from the top. From the board level, company, corporate, and then work your way to the sites, and that's what we're doing.
Okay, so I was literally going to ask that question, which is about given where it's coming from. You will have inherited a staff of people who worked a certain way, used to a certain way of working, and if you've got a new strategy, that may require new sets of skills. But I agree with you; it's got to start from the board first. That's got to be cleaned up. Clean up. That's a really bad phrase. You've got to have the right people who've signed up to the right mandate of what the company needs to do. So I'm glad you're doing that, because sometimes companies forget to look at sometimes boards forget to look at the board. But in terms of people on the ground, I mean, how many staff are there? What's the kind of makeup and skill set there?
Abcourt before I joined was a miner intensive company, no technical talent in the team. So I said, no, we're going to reverse that. The geologists, it's gold mining, narrow vein. You need a team of geologists, strong. So that's the first thing I did. I went and hired geologists. We now have 7 geologists at Sleeping Giant. Right now, they're focusing on the 3D model. They're going underground, doing mapping, understanding the geology. That's what they're doing. The geologist needs to be ahead of the engineers, and the engineers needs to be ahead of the miners, because you can only mine that ounce of gold once. You need to be very efficient. So the technical staff needs to be built up first, and that's what we did. And that's where we're going to continue. The geologist right now is built. We're going to build the engineering team. We have the chief engineer in place. Now it's just a matter of continuing the technical work. And then when the technical people will be ready, that's when the miners will come.
Okay, I'm kind of I always like a reboot story because you're kind of starting from with a blank sheet of paper in a way. I know you're not, because you've kind of got the mill and you can feed it, and you've got a bunch of assets and everything you've told us today in terms of why actually you're probably not getting credit for those things or value for those things, but you're starting from a low base. So I'm intrigued to see what you do in 2023. Obviously it's been a tough 2022 for all companies, especially precious metal companies, I would say, on the equity side of things. So I look forward to you coming back on and telling us what you have done, what this board meeting of yours is with regards to name changes and, more importantly, resources and getting the financing in place. So, Pascal, good to see you, and two, interesting plans you've got afoot here. Stay in touch, okay?
All right. Thank you, Matt.